with at least 3 mass shootings. Police say 1 person is dead and 22 others hurt after gunfire erupted during a Juneteenth celebration outside of Chicago. And 1 person was killed and 9 others injured overnight in downtown St. Louis. The victims ranging in age from 19 to 15 years old. Here's ABC's Alex Perchet.
In a year that's already seen more mass shootings than days, at least 3 more overnight. In Willowbrook, Illinois, police say at least 23 people were shot at a Juneteenth celebration in a strip mall parking lot overnight.
400 people outside, female screaming, report of gunshots.
1 person killed, others injured, fleeing the gunfire.
We just started heard a shoot come before we had us, so we dropped down.
It was chaos.
Police say they don't know how many suspects they're looking for or how many firearms were used, and they're still investigating a motive.
It's kind of becoming something where it's like inescapable.
Active shooting at Gorge Amphitheater. I'm not requesting any state assistance.
And in Washington state, authorities say at least 2 people were killed and another 2 injured after a gunman opened fire near the Beyond Wonderland Electronic Dance Music Festival overnight. The sheriff's department says the shooter walked the campgrounds firing randomly into the crowd.
But it's the white man's fault. TatumStore.com, TatumStore.com. Make sure you get the link in the description section. Get you one of these merch shirts. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notification anytime I go live, make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to this channel. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are going to see me do videos from a hotel room because I'm in Israel right now. Currently, I'm in Jerusalem, and this is an incredible opportunity. It's just so great to be in the land where Jesus was. And so I just want to throw that out there. So if you see me in the background that's not familiar, it's because I'm in Jerusalem or I'm in other places in Israel. Now let's get to the focal point of this particular video. Now, I want to say this. Let me give you my comments real quick on Juneteenth, and then I'm going to tell you why it bothers me at the reports that I've seen on the news. First things first, I think that it's okay to celebrate Juneteenth. Why not? Why wouldn't you celebrate Juneteenth? It was a historical moment in the state of Texas. I think that it should not be a federal holiday because it has no federal ramifications behind it. It has nothing to do with the United States of America as a whole. It had nothing to do with the freedom of slaves. It had everything to do with the acknowledgement that slaves were free. The message got to black slaves in Galveston, Texas. But here's one thing that they never tell you. They don't want you to know this because they don't want you to know that natives own slaves too. The Juneteenth celebration is not when the final slaves were released from slavery. That wasn't the final remnant. That's not true. The Choctaw Indian, a year later, released their slaves, which was the last remnant of slaves released by people who own slaves. So they don't want to tell you black people own slaves. They don't want to tell you that not all white people own slaves. It was only in the South. And like 6% of the people in the South own slaves or less. I've seen 6 and I've seen less than 6% when I researched that. And then also they don't want to tell you that Native Americans own slaves. They want to make it all bad white man, bad white man. We all understand that slavery was wrong, and we have atoned for our sins, in my opinion, in this country. Continuing on. So, Juneteenth to me is created now and exacerbated now to take over 4th of July to create division. There's only one Independence Day. There's only one Independence Day, the 4th of July. That is all of our Independence Day. But I'm okay with people celebrating Juneteenth. Just don't try to interfere the two. Don't try to act like one is greater than the other. We can celebrate them in conjunction together, but just do it with the right motive, with the right spirit, with the right evidence behind it. Don't sit up there and lie and forget to mention that the Choctaw Indians released their slaves a year after Juneteenth. Okay, now let's move on. The problem that I have that I've seen on the news, and I'm gonna play some clips while I'm talking, is the violence that have happened in the black community. We fight to celebrate Juneteenth, to celebrate blackness in America, and not all of us though. I don't think it's a majority of us, but I think it's quite ironic of the negative culture that exists in a lot of these communities that nobody want to talk about. How is it on a day to celebrate black freedom that we see in Chicago alone, 1 murder and 22 people shot? And also in Milwaukee, which is the video that I'll play here in a second. In Milwaukee, there's a video of a fight that happened on Martin Luther King Street. in the Juneteenth celebration. Multiple people were shot. Why is it that we turn a blind eye to this stuff? Why is it that the media don't talk about these things? Why is it that we act like there's not a degenerate culture that affects black people or Americans of African descent? But we go on and celebrate Juneteenth and we shame white people for it. But we should be focused on building our own community in a way that's sustainable and I would say profitable to our particular community, because everybody else is doing it, but we're not doing it. I'll just give you an example, and then I'm gonna move on. I was at the airport in St. Louis, the most ghetto airport I've ever seen in my life. What made St. Louis airport ghetto? The black people that were in there being ghetto. People working at the Starbucks. Dude working for the airlines, walking with his pants sagging. I mean, his whole butt is out, in uniform. Work for the airport, not the airlines, but the airport. And I'm like, really? Is this what we doing out here? Girls at the Starbucks being super ghetto, arguing, yelling, talking crazy, rude to people, bad attitude. And I'm just floored at the way we act and the way we present ourselves. It's like, how is it that we have a fluctuation in number of black people, and that's the most ghetto place that I've ever seen? I really don't understand. And people act like it's just kind of isolated, but I think it's more pervasive than we think. I mean, I've never been anywhere where it was all black people, and it was a great experience. Where everybody was professional. It was like, wow. It's like every time there's an influx of black people in a certain location, it's always drama and chaos. And I'm not saying every black person is participating in that, but I'm saying the overarching theme of it is that it becomes chaotic. It's inevitable that there's going to be a group in that group that's violent, that's yelling, like for instance, in St. Louis, because people would probably get mad at me and be like, in St. Louis. There was the only person in St. Louis, everybody's flight was canceled, whatever. I was in there for 4 hours. I'm in the pool with everybody else. The only person that's walking up the hallway, screaming obscenities, yelling the N-word, cussing, and screaming on his phone was a young black man. Everybody mad. He the only one running up and down and screaming on his phone, cussing and saying the N-word in front of everybody. But Juneteenth. But let me just add this part before I finish the video. Is people in academia, people in political positions are creating such an animosity towards this. They want reparations and all this. My last thoughts is that quit being racist. Quit pushing racism in America. Quit trying to act like there's such thing as black supremacy. Look, it's white people and black people fault for black people to be free. The freedom of black people didn't just come from black people. It didn't liberate themselves. It was a lot of white people who were good people who knew that it was wrong, fought in the Civil War. Hundreds of thousands of people died in that war, in that battle, that ultimately freed black people in America. And to be honest, all of the perils that we experienced, that we faced in America, all of the perils are for us to take advantage of opportunities that are now presented to us instead of complaining about the past. The people in our past, our forefathers fought, died, had hopes and dreams of being treated fairly and all this. And then now we get it, and we still complaining about what they went through. I honestly believe our ancestors will be pushing us along and say, go get it, go experience it. You have everything we didn't have. Go and be great. Go and be prosperous. Go out in the land and be plentiful. But instead of us taking advantage of this situation, instead of us living in America and being free and understanding the true history and what we've been through, we rather live back with them than take what they've produced and move forward. Anyway, I said enough. I love you guys. See you on the next one. I'm out.